Have you ever felt like you're always expecting more from someone and end up getting frustrated? Or that a simple unanswered message can ruin your day? Relationships can be a real emotional test: jealousy, insecurity, broken expectations. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that can transform the way you deal with all of this? Stoicism can help you stop suffering over things that are beyond your control and build healthier, more balanced connections. In this video, you'll understand how Stoic principles can save your relationship, whether in love, friendship, or even family. I'll show you how to react to arguments without losing your cool, how to avoid the pain of rejection, and, most importantly, how to develop a mindset that keeps you emotionally unshakable. If you're tired of living in emotional chaos, stay until the end, because this could completely change the way you approach your relationships. Who hasn't felt stuck in the cycle of frustration, jealousy, and emotional insecurity in a relationship? It's that moment when you place incredibly high expectations on the other person, and when they're not met, the pain is intense. Anxiety grows more and more, and suddenly you find yourself in a senseless argument, or worse, dwelling on something that's already past. This is very common, and the truth is that a lot of this pain could be avoided if we simply understood a little more about what's truly within our control and what isn't. This is where Stoicism comes in. This ancient philosophy, which dates back over 2,000 years, offers powerful teachings on how to deal with difficult situations, especially those that involve others. After all, the more we try to control the behavior of people around us, the more frustrated we become when they don't respond in the way we imagined. Stoicism teaches us to control only what we truly can: our reactions, our emotions, and our attitudes. That's already a huge step toward transforming a relationship. When you start applying Stoic philosophy, you realize that the key to a healthier relationship isn't in trying to change the other person, but in changing how you react to what the other person does or doesn't do. The first essential Stoic principle is that you cannot control others. It may sound simple, but most of the emotional suffering in relationships comes from trying to control someone else's actions. How a simple unanswered message can make you feel rejected, or how the lack of attention from your partner can create insecurity. But what if, instead of being stuck with the expectation of a reply, you simply accepted that the person has the right to act however they choose? That alone would release a huge emotional burden. Another very important Stoic principle is that we ourselves create our expectations, and these expectations often lead to suffering. When you expect the other person to fill an emotional void, whether through validation, attention, or affection, you are placing your happiness in that person's hands. When those expectations aren't met, what follows is frustration. The secret here is not to expect anything from others, but rather to have a clear vision of what you really need, and understand that the responsibility of fulfilling those needs lies with you. This may be hard to digest, but imagine how much lighter your day-to-day life would be if you started finding satisfaction within yourself, without depending on others' approval. Now, you may be wondering, okay, but how does this apply in practice, especially in a romantic relationship? I'll give you some real examples of how Stoicism can change the way you handle rejection, arguments, and even emotional insecurity. Let's start with rejection. We've all been through it: an unexpected breakup, a harsh word, or even the indifference of someone we like. What Stoicism teaches us here is that rejection doesn't define our worth. The big mistake is letting someone else's rejection directly reflect who we are. If someone doesn't want to be with you anymore, Stoic philosophy helps us understand that this is part of life. This isn't about you being insufficient or incapable of being loved. It's just a reality. People change, and that's beyond your control. Accepting this without taking it personally gives us the peace of mind we need to move on. And arguments? Often, we argue with those closest to us because we react emotionally without thinking. Stoicism teaches us to take a pause before reacting. Instead of going on the attack after a provocation or misunderstanding, you can ask yourself, does this really matter? Is it worth fighting over? Imagine how much more productive and less draining your discussions would be if you had control over your reactions. You'd feel so much calmer if, instead of blowing up, you simply took a moment to reflect and, if needed, expressed your opinion in a calm and rational way. Now, the biggest challenge for many of us is emotional insecurity. We need constant validation from others to feel good. This is a trap. When we depend on someone else to make us happy or whole, we are placing our happiness in the hands of someone who often doesn't even have the power to give us that. Stoicism teaches us to seek our own happiness internally, to be emotionally self-sufficient. This doesn't mean you should be cold or indifferent, but rather that you should learn to love and validate yourself without waiting for others to do that for you. So, how can we apply Stoicism in our daily lives? I'll give you 3 simple exercises that can transform the way you handle your relationships. The first is the Stoic Journal. At the end of each day, reflect, how did you react to certain emotional situations? What could you have done differently? This simple exercise helps you identify behavioral patterns and improve your reactions for the future. The second is the 24-hour test. Before reacting to something that upsets you, wait a day. Let the emotions calm down and then decide whether it's worth acting. Often, the emotions of the moment fade, and what seemed like a big problem ends up being nothing. The third exercise is the observer mindset. When an emotionally charged situation happens, try to distance yourself from it for a moment and observe your feelings from the outside, as if you were watching everything from an impartial perspective. This helps reduce the intensity of your emotional reaction. Now, if you follow these principles and practice these strategies, the benefits for your relationship will be immense. Stoicism won't make others change, but it will transform the way you deal with what's beyond your control, making your relationships more balanced and less toxic. In summary, Stoicism can be the key to healthier relationships. It teaches us to let go of unrealistic expectations, to react more calmly, and to be emotionally independent. If you start applying these teachings, you will see a major transformation, not only in the way you deal with people, but also in your inner peace. So, which of these principles will you start applying in your relationship? Let me know in the comments. And if you think this video can help someone, share it. Who knows? This ancient philosophy might also change someone else's life.